Welcome to the Chronicles of a Cheating Wife channel. A new story every day. Don't forget to subscribe. It's interesting how people often underestimate the repercussions of their actions. My name is Matthew, and if I were to describe myself, I'd say I'm an affectionate and easygoing man who strives to fulfill his wife's every desire. It took 2 marriages, but I finally grasped that being too laid back and overly giving can result in contempt and a lack of respect. I won't allow that to happen again. There's a trend among certain individuals who believe they can engage in secretive behavior without consequences, as long as their partners remain oblivious. These individuals conceal their guilt in various ways until the truth surfaces, at which point they express regret, insisting they never intended for their spouses to find out and be hurt. Do they comprehend the irony of admitting to clandestine actions and only feeling remorseful when caught? It's truly insulting. I'm convinced these individuals lack an understanding of normal thinking. Linda and I crossed paths after both emerging from dysfunctional relationships. Having spent 3 years with her boyfriend, Simon, Linda was abruptly dumped for a younger, more attractive girl. The heartbreak left Linda with self-esteem issues, and she never truly moved on from Simon, a fact that always lingered in the background of our relationship. Being 6 years Linda's senior, I had experienced a 5-year marriage with my ex-wife Monica, who was incredibly attractive and had initially captivated me. Unfortunately, she betrayed our relationship by engaging in multiple affairs behind my back during a time when I was completely enamored with her. It took a year for me to uncover her infidelity, causing deep emotional pain. I ended the marriage, vowing never to let such betrayal happen again. From that point on, I knew that trust would be a significant challenge for me in any new relationships. Linda and I were well aware of each other's emotional baggage. I played a crucial role in helping Linda overcome her self-esteem issues. She dedicated herself to fitness, transforming her body into an impressive figure. Spending her free time on shopping, sailing visits, and tennis, she emerged as a confident and beautiful woman with my support and encouragement. In return, recognizing my trust issues stemming from past experiences, Linda worked tirelessly to help me overcome them. She consistently reassured me of her unwavering love and expressed gratitude for finding me. Each day, she emphasized her love for me, ensuring that all my desires were fulfilled. Our relationship was marked by affectionate moments like kissing and cuddling on the couch, and we even began discussing the possibility of starting a family. We believed we were each other's soulmates and life seemed content, or so I thought. Fast forward to a week after our 6th anniversary, and my world took an unexpected turn. I noticed Linda wearing a dress I hadn't seen before, looking stunning, especially for a typical late-morning weekday. While I wasn't spying on my wife, our home had video security, and I occasionally checked it during work breaks to watch our dog Brandy, a small dachshund, providing a moment of relief from my high-pressure job as a bond broker. That particular morning, the live feed on the video piqued my curiosity. There was my beloved wife in a short red dress and towering heels, her hair styled and makeup impeccable. It had been a while since I'd seen her look so captivating, and it triggered a sense of unease. Concerned, I decided to call my loving wife immediately, hoping to understand what she was up to. I dialed her number on the phone. "Hi, sweetheart. Just sitting here thinking about you. How's your day going? Tennis today?" "Hello, my love. I miss you too. Nothing planned today." "No tennis because Kara hurt her ankle, so I took the day off." "Oh, that's unfortunate. I know how much you enjoy playing. What do you plan to do then?" "Not sure. No plans. Maybe I'll head to the gym. Would you like to meet for lunch? I can come home and pick you up." "That's incredibly sweet, baby, but not today. I'm feeling a bit bloated and not up for eating right now. I'll just have a protein shake at the gym. I'll see you tonight. Love you, baby." I ended the call without my usual "I love you." She likely noticed, as I always express my love before ending our conversations. Something felt off, and I needed to find out why. Despite trusting Linda after all these years, I still had a GPS tracker on her car that I seldom used. Initially installed for safety reasons, it had sadly become a tool for spying on my wife. After hanging up, I left my office, activated her tracker, and realized she was heading downtown. My office was close, and 15 minutes later, I caught up with her as she entered a parking garage. Parking on the street, I waited in a doorway for her to exit. 5 minutes later, there she was, my beautiful wife in high heels and a short dress, heading to an upscale restaurant named Fellini's. I stood there, my stomach in knots, praying I wouldn't be deceived again. Seeing her wave to a man in front of the restaurant, I knew trouble was brewing. Moving closer, I tried to stay out of sight and witnessed them exchanging a kiss. As he took her hand, they walked inside. Quickly crossing the street, I watched through the window as they stood in front of the hostess, arms around each other. Linda leaned lovingly into his shoulder. Tears welled up, anger rising. Wiping my eyes, I took out my phone, snapping photos through the window. Just as I started, he turned to Linda, kissing her passionately. My heart shattered as she responded, arms around his neck, pulling him in deeper. At that point, I switched to the video recorder, capturing the intimate kiss. A mix of heartache and rage led me down a dark path. Before deciding what to do, the hostess led them to their table. My blood boiled at the sight of the man, Simon, her ex-boyfriend, who had once dumped her, shattering her life. Now she was back in his arms, despite my clear instructions that she was never to speak with him again. The anger within me intensified as I realized she had lied to me, met her ex, passionately kissed him, and spent the entire day with him within the past hour. Such a blatant display of disrespect and humiliation was intolerable, and I couldn't endure it again. The promise I made to myself after my previous marriage prevented me from tolerating this level of disrespect. It was over, and all that remained was to endure more lies and excuses from my soon-to-be ex-wife. Filled with anger, I drove back to the office and finished the day at my desk, grappling with how this could happen again. After wallowing in self-pity for the next 5 hours, I headed home, already knowing my next move. I wondered if Linda would finally tell the truth about her date or persist in deceiving me, as that would only make my final decision easier. With considerable effort, I suppressed my rage and drove home to confront the end of my marriage. Turning into the driveway, I felt tears welling up for the loss of the woman I had loved and respected. Upon entering the kitchen, I found Linda setting a nice dinner table, wearing a cute outfit and acting affectionate. She gave me a big kiss, expressing how much she missed me. I dismissed it as typical cheating behavior, an attempt to assuage her guilt by showering me with more affection than she had in the past 6 months. Despite my efforts to act normal, it was evident that I was failing, prompting her to ask, "Honey, are you okay? Did anything happen?" Pouring myself a tall glass of Mr. Daniels, I attempted to smile and relax, replying, "Everything's good, just a stressful afternoon. Let me get changed and cleaned up for dinner, and I'll be down shortly." In the bedroom, as I changed and sat on the bed finishing my drink, I let the elixir wash over my body. After settling down, I headed back to the kitchen to find my beautiful wife smiling and happy as she placed dinner on the table, obviously content from her day with her boyfriend. As we sat together, I initiated the conversation. "Linda, this is a wonderful dinner, and you dressed so beautifully for me today. Thank you. I love you, sweetheart, and I enjoy cooking for you," she replied with a satisfied smile. An awkward silence enveloped us as we ate. I noticed Linda glancing over at me, perhaps sensing that something was troubling me. Was she feeling guilty? Would she reveal the truth about today? The next few minutes would unveil the answers. "So tell me about your day and what you did for lunch," I said in a non-threatening tone. "After you called, I went to the gym for a few hours, had a protein bar, then came home to cook your dinner. Kind of a boring day," she offered as her response. Seeing my expression change, and noticing my eyes welling up, she quickly looked down at her plate. In a subdued voice, I continued, "So Linda, how do we do this? Do we just meet with the attorneys, or would you prefer counseling first?" "What are you talking about, honey?" "Divorce, of course," I answered. "Stop being silly. What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the end of our marriage, divorce, splitting up, figuring out how we can do this and remain friends." "I don't understand. Why do you want a divorce?" "Really, I'll give you a few moments to consider your question before I answer." Suddenly, she became nervous, her hands fidgeting with her glass, avoiding eye contact. She remained silent for a few minutes. "Could you follow me today?" "No." I lied, knowing it might not make a difference, but for some reason, I didn't want her to know. "Why would you ask if I followed you? Is there anything I should know?" She seemed confused and unsure of what to say. As expected, she denied any wrongdoing, claiming nothing was going on and expressing her confusion about why I brought up divorce. With a saddened expression, I gazed into her eyes, hoping she would open up and tell the truth. After a prolonged silence, I said, "Well, let me show you what is troubling me, Linda." I opened my phone and displayed a photo of her and Simon kissing outside the restaurant. This photo could have been explained as a friendly greeting, and I chose not to reveal the other pictures until I heard more of her explanations. Her mouth dropped open, and I saw tears welling up in her eyes. Naturally, she began to offer excuses. "Honey, I can explain. That was just a hello kiss. Nothing happened. How did you get this photo? So, how's Simon doing these days, baby? Let me tell you how I got this photo. I was across the street coming out of the software corner when I thought I spotted you walking hand in hand into the restaurant. I crossed the street, went to the window, and saw you standing there with his arm around you. Initially, I thought it wasn't you, but I was wrong. It was you. My second thought was, why is she wearing that sexy dress and high heels? She never dresses like that for me anymore. Then I noticed you were with Simon, and everything immediately came into focus. I started taking some photos just as you leaned up and kissed him, and that's how I got this photo." The next photo I showed her depicted her with her arms around his neck, her short dress hiking up to reveal her exposed backside. "You really looked good in that dress, and your hair and makeup looked spectacular. Were you headed for a modeling shoot? Tell me, why did you dress like that for him? I can't remember the last time you wore something so attractive for me." She put her head into her hands and cried as I glared at her, waiting for an answer. When she didn't speak, I continued, "You know my new iPhone has an amazing camera that allows me to zoom into a photo with great clarity. Look, let me show you," I said, zooming into her left hand wrapped around Simon's neck. I focused on her ring finger, now void of her wedding rings, and held the image up to her face. "No wedding rings today. Funny. I don't remember you ever removing them during our entire time together. Today must have really been a special day. Now do you see why I'm talking about divorce, honey? This morning you lied to me about your day, took off your wedding rings, dressed provocatively to meet your ex-lover, and lied to me again about your day a few minutes ago. You sit here and continue to lie to my face, telling me you went to the gym today and did nothing for lunch. You wore your sexiest outfit for your ex-lover, spent the day with him while I'm working to make our lives better. You broke your promise never to see him again, kissed and flirted with another man in public, treated me like a fool, and lied to me just now. I don't know if you slept with him tonight or not, but it doesn't matter. Whatever you say will be a lie in my mind, but what you did showed me that you don't keep your promises, and you will lie to cover things up. You went out of your way to look nice for an ex-lover, were intimate with him, abandoned your marriage by removing your rings, and then lied to me over and over. That's a good reason for divorce in my book, and you knew that." Linda was shaken to her core, realizing she hadn't truly thought through the consequences of her actions. Matthew's detailed account made her confront the fact that she had behaved like a cheating wife. Until this moment, she had dismissed it as harmless teasing and flirting, not considering the emotional depth it had reached. For the first time since Simon reached out to her, she recognized the potential for this to be seen as emotional infidelity, if not physical. Still crying, she acknowledged that if the roles were reversed, she would be reacting the same way. "What have I done?" she whispered to herself. Her heart ached and a sick feeling churned in her stomach as she realized the pain she had inflicted on her husband. Linda knew she had to reach Matthew and salvage their marriage. "Matthew, you have to believe me. Nothing happened. After lunch, we went our separate ways, but you have to believe me. Nothing happened. After lunch, we went our separate ways, but you have to believe me. There was nothing going on. It was just lunch," she said, sobbing and desperately searching for a way out. "I realize now how this looks, and if it were turned around, I would feel how you're feeling now. And I am so sorry. Can you please try and forgive my stupidity? This goes beyond stupidity, as you did this with your ex-lover, the one person you promised to avoid. Can you explain why you got dressed like that for him without your wedding rings? Can you explain why you were holding hands and kissing him? Can you explain why you continue to lie to my face? Tell me, darling, that that's nothing to you. And yes, if this were reversed, I'm sure you would feel quite differently. Matthew, I know this looks bad, but I took my rings off when I was touching up my nails and forgot them when I realized I was running late. It sounds lame, and I can't excuse that, but I can only promise you it wasn't like I was trying to hide them. He knows we're married. He knows you're married but still wants to see you and kiss you passionately in public, and you went along with everything. That's a lame excuse. Going out behind my back with your ex-lover and lying about it is a deal breaker in my book." A little irritated, she said, "I'm not sure what to say except it was just lunch with a friend, and I just wanted to look nice." "Well, it doesn't matter. You lied to me, and you met with him. Do you think I'm a complete idiot? I know this meeting had to be planned for a while, and you hid it from me, never bothering to mention it. And when I saw the two of you kissing like that, well, it's clear you want more than I can give you. Matthew, honey, we can't get divorced over something like this. Nothing happened. He was in town and asked me for lunch. I know I shouldn't have gone, and I know how jealous you get, but we had a long relationship, and I thought one lunch after not seeing him for all these years wouldn't be a big thing. I think I dressed extra special to show him what he lost when he dumped me. I kind of wanted to put it in his face about what he lost and how happy I was. It still hurts when I think back to how he dumped me back then, and I wanted to get a little revenge. Yes, I kissed him, but it wasn't a romantic kiss, more like two friends just meeting or saying goodbye. You have to believe me. I don't want anything to do with him. Please, baby, let's work this out. I'll do anything you want. Really? It's nothing. You'll do anything I want." Hearing that she had a chance to save their marriage, she smiled, anxious to hear what she needed to do, and said, "Yes, of course. I'll do whatever you want, baby. Oak, Linda, I'll give you one chance, and one chance only. I only have one request. Let me see your cell phone." "Why?" She looked at me with a puzzled expression. "Well, Linda, if it's nothing, then give me your phone. I want to see if there are any text messages to him and what you two have been saying to each other." "No, you don't need to see that," she said, looking down at the floor. She knew that if I had read the messages, it would hurt me and reveal a lot of things she wouldn't want me to see. That's what I thought. So let's get back to my original question. How do we want to do this? She started crying and asking me to forgive her, promising that she'll never do it again. This brought back the heartbreaking memories from my first marriage. I couldn't believe I was reliving that nightmare. This time I was not going to believe all the lies and let things continue. Wait, please wait, Matthew. If I give you the phone, do you promise to give me another chance? You must know I love you, and I've never cheated on you before. I may have gotten wrapped up in a stupid online relationship, and yes, with my ex-lover, but I was being stupid and acting like a teenage girl. The flirting and compliments felt good, And all of it stroked my ego, and I know how childish that sounds. If I give you the phone, you have to promise that you'll give me another chance. I can't do that, Linda. But I will promise you that if you don't give me the phone, we are 100% done. My next action will be to call Thomas Smith, the attorney I've already spoken with, and I'll have him complete the divorce paperwork this week. She knew there was no other choice and understood exactly what Matthew would be reading, their romantic texts for the last 2 months. All she could hope for now was that he understood it was a foolish emotional mistake and that she was still all his. She believed that since they hadn't slept together, he would understand and forgive her. In her opinion, she should have let him know that she had never had physical intimacy with him or anyone else. As Matthew opened the text messaging application, he saw Linda sitting there with her head in her hands, crying and speaking softly. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for being foolish and an idiot. I love you, Matthew, and there is nobody else." When she told Simon that her marriage had become stale and that she was bored, and Simon replied that he missed her in bed without her, he wanted to scream. He closed the phone and threw it on the table in disgust. Well, that was eye-opening. Eventually, I will forgive you, Linda, but I won't stay married to anyone I can't trust. And by your actions, it's clear that I can't trust you. What I just read is what I had expected, and something I won't allow myself to live with. Maybe your boyfriend can make your life more exciting, and maybe he will take you back now that he knows what he's been missing. Linda, I will miss you, but I'll find a woman that will want to be exclusive to me and not disrespect me with lies and secrets. Matthew, what do I have to do to prove my love for you and change your mind? Nothing. When I saw you walking hand in hand with him, standing there with your arms around him and kissing him, my heart broke. And now, knowing that you sent him those pictures and told him you still loved him, and then claimed you were sick of our marriage, is more than any normal man can take. It's sad, but I feel like our entire time together has been a waste, and I've been nothing but a fool. Working hard, planning a family, taking care of you in our home, only to find you starting up with an ex-lover. Do you grasp the significance of how things might have been different if you had been honest about your day when I inquired? I can almost empathize with your desire based on your story. However, the real issue lies in the fact that you deliberately kept it from me and chose to lie about it. Let's not pretend. If I hadn't discovered it, you wouldn't have confessed. That's the heart of the matter, baby. Spare me the assurance that you would have eventually divulged the details of your lunch with your ex-lover once you got home. Don't bother. I already know the answer. Trust, loyalty, and honesty are the pillars of my values, and you trampled on them without a second thought. Despite knowing the pain I've endured in the past, you proceeded without consideration for our relationship. Had you called and informed me of your plans, I wouldn't have been pleased, but I might have let you go and have your lunch. Now I'm left to wonder if this is a pattern. If we had stayed together, I would constantly question the veracity of your words, your actions in my absence, and whether you're with him or other men. I can't subject myself to such thoughts day in and day out, and it's unjust to both of us. How do I forget the ease with which you deceived me? Yes, the kissing and looking attractive for him are disconcerting. The absence of engagement rings is hurtful, but lying and cheating are unequivocally unacceptable. I am certain that I won't live through that again. Matthew, you're right, and I made a foolish mistake. I lied because I knew you would be angry, but I felt compelled to do this, even if it was an error. I needed some closure. I thought one lunch for revenge wouldn't cause any harm, but now I comprehend the gravity of my actions, and for that, I am truly sorry. I would never intentionally hurt you, I promise. Can we work on this? I want to be as transparent and open as you are. My issue is that I never want to cause harm and will avoid it if possible, but I can now see where being dishonest is even more detrimental. Well, honesty and transparency were the only things that could have salvaged this marriage. However, you weren't transparent and honest until circumstances forced you to comply. Your refusal to let me read your text messages until there was no other option sealed your fate." Tears streamed down her face as she sat there, recognizing how the messages exposed her lack of honesty and trustworthiness. She knew I wouldn't accept this, finally understanding that her emotional relationship with another man was just as damaging as if she had been physically unfaithful. She vowed never to make that mistake again. Regrettably, our once happy marriage came to an end. We signed the papers and officially divorced 3 months later. We sold the house, divided our assets, and went our separate ways as friends. No reconciliation, no revenge, no hatred. All that remained were the smoldering ashes of a once joyful union, obliterated by deceit, lies, and the loss of trust. Epilogue. After experiencing betrayal twice, I decided to continue dating, concluding that marriage would not be a part of my future. Meanwhile, Linda and Simon entered into a relationship, and 2 months later, Linda discovered she was pregnant. However, Simon, upon learning about the pregnancy, promptly abandoned Linda, urging her to address the situation because he was not prepared for parenthood. The following morning, Linda found herself deserted by Simon, left alone to navigate the challenges of impending motherhood. According to her sister Leona, Linda became a mere shadow of her former self. Her self-esteem once again shattered. Plunged into a perpetual state of depression, Linda's life transformed from paradise to a living hell, all due to her vanity and selfish choices. She struggled to forgive herself for dismantling her once happy marriage and losing my love and respect.